Okay, so I think we're live. I know we did have quite a few people, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, with Carol and Tony, who were on the line that couldn't make it to tonight's meeting because they're out riding or had some personal plans, which is really exciting. I'm so glad everybody's enjoying the nice weather that we've been having. So I'm trying something new, and I'm going to record our meeting tonight so everyone can stay in the loop and be involved. I'll be able to send this out in an email to everyone, and you can watch and then send any questions or input that you might have on the conversation. So, Carol and Drew, you're kind of put on the spot to talk to me tonight. But I do want to just start the meeting with quite a few updates since last month. Obviously, a lot has transpired since our April meeting, and we've really seen our plans come to fruition, and we had to really execute after some big decisions and changes happened in April. So I wanted to start there. We did officially hear from Ohio State first that they are not opening back up this summer for their summer conferences and housing. So they were not able to guarantee us being able to stay on campus with them. And then a week later, we heard from John Carroll, University in Cleveland, a very similar response. Worcester never truly gave us a direct answer. Wittenberg was able to move forward and continue our summer contract, but with only one college guaranteed. And with the way that the city of Cleveland was handling their permits at the time, which I know I shared last month, that they were not willing to approve any summer event contracts and applications. We had to make that tough decision, as we had been discussing, to go to our plan C of a primarily virtual event. So I'm certain you've seen a lot of the announcements. We have tried to really, as an executive committee, Tony can definitely help me speak to this in our frequent conversations we've been having. We've really tried to involve a lot of our committee conversations that we've been having over the last 2 months. We really tried to poll various groups of riders as well for decisions that have been made in the last month, particularly around our incentives like Dynamo Club. We did reach out to a large pool of individuals who have been Dynamos over the years consistently, as well as anyone that had been on the verge this year. So that'll be next on my agenda. Just some of the other changes that we've had since deciding to go virtual. Incentives was a big one, as well as our registration fees, what happens next with lodging, if anyone had filled out that lodging survey. So I want to recap a lot of what was in our emails. First and foremost, just stating how thankful I am to Tony and the rest of the executive leadership. They've really been a huge help to us staff during this really trying time. We've had more calls than ever because we wanted to be consistent in our communication, and we wanted to really gather together to make these tough decisions. So thank you, Tony, for being so flexible and being a part of all those conversations and helping kind of lead the way for our area in supporting me. It's truly meant a lot, and it has been tough on us as a staff team to have to make these decisions. We're just as bummed as so many I know of our riders and volunteers to have to make the call to go virtual. So it has not been easy, but I've just been very inspired and motivated by the conversations we have been having, both in our local and, again, the executive leadership. And just seeing the response we're getting, the support we're getting from riders and volunteers has been so encouraging. And I just couldn't be more proud of truly that Pan Ohio Hope Ride family atmosphere that we have with our group of individuals and those that participate with us. Tony, do you want to kind of add anything just about going virtual and that conversation before I dive into kind of those other particulars about the fees and fundraising, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, just a couple of words. I mean, again, it is kind of what it is. So we'll get through it. But we've chatted as a group. got some ideas, different ideas, and again, I'm not sure where we all ended up. And I know you'll share all that information, but I still think we can make something out of this, even if it's virtual. There's hope we could pick up additional people that may not have been able to ride. That it's going to change to a different style event versus 4 days. So, again, I think the group had a lot of great ideas as to how we can make the most out of this virtually, to help, still bring that experience as close as we can. But, without this, the sad part is not being able to get together as the group we do. But still make something out of it and still make it a purposeful event. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the participation comes with the virtual group. My gut tells me we're going to still have a great response to it. Again, these guys are troopers, so I'm looking forward to seeing how this all works out.
Yeah, I concur. So I want to just take a little bit of a deeper dive and just some reminders. First off, executive leadership, again, has done a wonderful job all coming together to make this as smooth of a process as possible. So we did create an FAQ document that lives on Google, so it can constantly be updated at any moment, and a rider or volunteer or potential could see in true time what our announcements are. So if you have not read in detail the FAQ, that would be my first recommendation for everyone, is to really look through that. We've put a lot of time into making sure the communication is there and that we're transparent and that resources are available. So the FAQ is linked to the front of our website. When you go to POHR.org, it's right there in the blurb about the status of our event going virtual. We've also updated our announcements section, so that great scrolling area on the front page of the website that we can highlight some focus areas. We've really updated that to respond to our virtual efforts. So in regards to registration, it's updated. Our fundraising incentives, we've put a reminder about the rider survey about how riders would like us to respond to their registration fees they've paid. So everything really is live and active and updated on the website. So use that as a reference and a tool, because we're trying to make sure that that stays up to date for everyone. So kind of diving into that, registration fees definitely have been the number one question, which made me realize that some people probably didn't read our FAQ, which is why this last week's reminder email was a bit more lengthy, because we do really want everyone to understand these next steps and really embrace this virtual experience to the best opportunity that it can be. So for registration fees, we gave riders the option of 3 things. Knowing the times that we're going through and that there might be some financial hardship, we did offer a refund. We also offered transfer of the registration fees to the 2021 ride next year. And then we offered riders to make their registration fee a donation for this year. So if riders are really striving for the jersey or a Dynamo Club and higher level, or just to give back to our mission, knowing the times that we're going through, that was the third option. So what we need truly is for all riders to fill that out. And we did get an increase since last week's reminder email, but we still have a long way to go. We need every rider to fill that out. And so far we've received 153 responses. So as more people fill that out, we can take action appropriately and what response they chose. So if you haven't filled that out and you're a rider, or if you communicate with your team pretty consistently, if you could send reminders to your teammates to fill that out, we want to do our due diligence to have a quick turnaround on entering those as donations if that's what people selected, or submitting for refunds. So I would definitely start with that as a reminder. And then next, all lodging fees have been refunded to my understanding, to my knowledge. So anyone that already had paid for their lodging and dorm fees should have seen those already put back into their bank accounts. If for whatever reason you haven't, or you know someone that did fill out the lodging survey and paid and has not received anything, please let me know, because that was taken care of pretty immediately. So that was weeks ago. So if there have been any issues, we want to make sure that we can talk to our CrowdRise team about those refunds that they helped us conduct. So I was very grateful that they were able to quickly turn around within 3 to 5 days and get that done for us. And we could provide that customer service. But again, if you know of anyone on your team or you personally who did not get that refunded, please let me know so I can follow up with them. So there was no action needed by riders there. We just went ahead and did that and had them make those refunds right away. And then last, you probably saw the most recent update, again, was around fundraising incentives. And this was a big conversation on what we do given the times when it comes to fundraising and recognition. So we do have a lot of riders. And again, I've just been so moved and inspired by these efforts. But we have had many riders send us encouraging emails. We're seeing people on Facebook that are truly trying to push through this time and do whatever we can to raise as much money this year. Given the circumstance, as we discussed last month, we won't have the event expenses that we typically have in hosting our regular ride. So knowing that moving forward, other than the very minimal amount that we will spend for jerseys and some kind of item like a medal at the end of the year and our bibs, our expenses are going to be extremely minimal. And compared to usual, we can actually say that we are making a huge impact on the mission of not having the expenses we typically do for this event. So I am just so thankful to see people still trying, knowing that fundraising is going to be down. It's definitely impacted us as an organization. I won't lie that we have had to furlough staff. There are still going to be more that come, just like other companies and organizations out there. It's happening with us as well. And it is a scary time, but we're pushing through the best that we can. We heard a statistic that I wanted to share, and that was that 80% of our calls to NCIC, our Cancer Institute Center, are 80% of them are related to COVID and patients needing support. They're going to treatment and they can't have anyone with them in the room. They can't have guests because of the circumstances. They have questions about visitation, seeing their friends. What do I do in response to my treatment because of COVID? So it's just amazing to know that we have that resource available to people. Our numbers have skyrocketed on how many calls we're receiving, and to know that we're there 24/7, 365 days is really moving for me personally. And I'm so thankful that we have that resource for individuals. So knowing that riders take that to mind and to heart, I'm just so thankful that we are still pushing through to fundraise as much as we can. And so with that, with our incentives, we did decide that our jersey would stay the same amount to qualify at $13.28, though we do not have a registration fee any longer for anyone that signs up virtually. And we technically don't have a minimum to raise to participate. We use that significance of the 328 to encourage individuals to strive for at least raising $328 this year. Again, just knowing the significance of what 328 means to us, and knowing that hopefully riders will strive for their own personal goals, whatever those may be, beyond that number. But the tougher conversation really lied around Dynamo and above. We have currently 6 Dynamo Club members, and I will be very transparent that at this time we would normally have far more than that. And so we know that it's impacting all of you and our efforts, and that it is harder than ever to get to some of those levels. So we did survey quite a few Dynamo over the years, and any individual that was above the 3,500 mark currently for this year's ride, to ask them their preferences for how we move forward. And we asked them to just really give us their honest feedback on what we could do with the Dynamo Club status this year. And given all the responses that we received, as an executive group, we really had to work through those individual comments. A lot of people typed us, lengthy responses, and we went line by line to really listen to all of our historical Dynamo Club members. And we did make the decision to lower this year to the 3,500 mark. The biggest thing, I think, for Dynamos, and I 100% would guarantee and think I'd feel the same way, is that feeling of starting our ride at the front of the pack, and that special recognition that they receive, and that moment at the recognition dinner. You guys have said it so many times that it's not really about the items as much as it is about where the money goes and that special recognition piece. So though we did lower it for this year, we did want to make sure in all of our language that we said any qualifying Dynamo riders for this year and next will start next year's ride at the start line, to have that special moment. And we will carry over a lot of that recognition into next year, like during the recognition dinner. Though we will do special things this year virtually, we know being able to do some of that in person next year as well, is the least that we could do. So we will do that. But for this year's jersey and for the title of Dynamo Club, it will be at that lower 3,500 amount, knowing that that's still higher than what our average race per rider has been over the years as well. So that's still a significant amount. It's hundreds of dollars more than what last year's average race per rider was at a little over 3,000. And so it's still something that I think everyone should and could strive for and know that they've really made a true impact at that fundraising level. Tony, do you want to add anything? And I know you've been a Dynamo over the years, so I definitely lean to you for any other comments on that decision.
Yeah, I mean, like you stated, we had multiple options. I was a believer that, from the start that it was going to be tough to fund this year. I know it wasn't an easy decision to make, but I do think this was the correct decision. I do believe, again, everybody's heart's still going to be into trying to get to the 5,000. I know personally I am. As a matter of fact, I think this afternoon I've gathered up the commitments for the rest of the money I needed to get to the 5,000 to make true Dynamo. But I don't think it's going to deter anybody from trying to get there. Again, like you stated, we don't want to take away from the honor of getting there. We just know it's going to be difficult this year. I do appreciate the fact that we'll get to ride with the Dynamos for next year, which again I hope to make Dynamo again next year. So yeah, it wasn't an easy decision, but I do believe it was the right one. And again, I still think there'll be people out there incentived enough that are close to the 3,500 to still continue to try to fundraise and get to the goal. So looking forward to seeing how many more can make it.
I agree. I'm hopeful that maybe it can inspire some folks too that have always wanted to get to that level, if they've always been on the cusp of achieving that 5,000, and just knowing that it is a tough year and that we wanted to be flexible. And I just appreciate the Dynamo's input over the years, the Dynamos that we have that really helped kind of carve that decision. We did decide to include a special recognition for anyone that does receive the 5,000 and above level. We did not include this on the announcement and the FAQ, so this is internal knowledge only. I will give you an inside scoop, since you are on committee, that for anyone 5,000 and above, currently the FAQ and the incentive flyer that we've updated that we will share with everyone says that if you raise 5,000 and above, I'll read it verbatim. You'll receive an invitation to an exclusive online reception with a very special guest on Saturday, July 25th. we were able to secure our CEO, Gary Reedy, to go live on Saturday with a group that raised $5,000 and above. And I think I want to talk to Gary Reedy. I've never even talked to our CEO. And he's a very inspiring man. Obviously, we have calls and such with him. But to be able to actively, like this on Microsoft Teams, have that opportunity to talk to Gary Reedy one-on-one, I think is going to be really just a very special moment. So we will make that public, but at the time we wanted to keep it kind of brief, just an overview of what we were discussing. But we have gotten confirmation from Gary that he can join us and offer that. And he's more than happy to dedicate that time on a Saturday evening, that we could use that as a special opportunity for anyone that does raise the 5,000 and above. So
that's
very
exciting.
cool. Yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm so thankful for our leadership that they've really stepped up to try to be a part of our events this year, knowing the status that we're in. So we really tried to brainstorm, and we said the least we can do is ask, right? And so we sent him an email, and he was more than happy to commit to it. So very cool opportunity. And again, we will announce that as we continue encouraging around Dynamo Club and giving our Dynamo Club shout outs as individuals reach that level. We will really highlight that opportunity for anyone 5,000 and above. Paul is still also going to recognize for pace setters this year, anyone nationally that raises 7,500 and above, that will still stand as well. And then for Double Dynamo, I know that's something that we really wanted to try to launch this year, and we had just barely kind of talked about it as an event, but that's something we'll really focus on in 2021 because most of our recognition for Double Dynamo was going to be in-person opportunities and really mission related. So we will really try to focus on transferring that into 2021. So a lot of updates. Yeah.
Just a random thought for the Dynamos that make it this year, and then we're going to recognize them next year also.
Mm-hmm.
Can we, just trying to think what we can do to, like, not label them, but have them kind of stand out a little bit more in that lineup, like maybe a special bib or something on their bib, or I know people are always talking about patches or stickers, so just trying to think of something that would be cool to be like, hey, I was a Dynamo in 2020 and I'm back in, and, you know, I get recognized again. So I don't know.
That's a great point. Yeah, and I think that's valid because if someone achieved it in 2020 but maybe doesn't reach the 5,000 in 2021, though they'll start the ride, you know, you have that conversation of like, which Dynamo jersey do I wear? I think we would say both. But I love that idea of something that could identify all of them regardless of year, 2020 or 2021, whether that's a patch or a special bib. We can absolutely make that happen. So we'll brainstorm that a little further as we get into 2021, but we're definitely thinking in that space too. So thanks for saying that, Carol.
That'd be awesome. Yay.
Yeah. And I'll help you guys for photos, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, now we can recognize them.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point.
And George just showed up. So now we have one more body. Yay.
Great. Well, I know that's a lot to share about updates. And again, I just can't speak enough to the FAQ and what we've done to really highlight things in that. But highlighting last week's email a bit more, we tried to give some teasers of things to come to really excite everyone around May and June before our virtual Create Your Own 328 in July. So we are really working as a exec team and nationally. Paul's done a great job of connecting all of us bike staff even more consistently than we used to talk, just to come up with unique ways that we can engage our events during this time. So to start, we will have a Facebook fundraising challenge. This was something that global headquarters did for Relay for Life, and we were very successful. for relay platform, and we wanted to kind of duplicate that in our determination space. So we are going to host our own Facebook fundraising challenge amongst all of the bike events. And again, that email last week highlighted that. So that'll be mid-May, coming up soon. There will be more individual emails around that in the next week to come. We also launched officially the Primal store on Friday. So our event jersey this year matches all these accessories that the Primal store has to offer that Paul worked really hard on with Primal for all of our determination events. But what I'm excited about is the fact that our jersey matches it. Not all events can say that. It's just pretty cool that with our jersey design we have this year, many riders might get excited about those apparel items that they can purchase. Also, we offered a t-shirt. So I really want to highlight that. If you didn't open Friday's email about the Primal store and go check it out, we have talked about the idea of, do we offer a shirt this year? Do we not? And knowing that we are trying to keep our expenses more minimal, we as an executive team thought that that was something we could offer in the store. So if individuals did want a shirt for POHR this year, that they could have a 2020 shirt still. We're also still talking about a fun shirt design that we could customize just for POHR to follow up to that. So there will be lots of options for everyone to still hopefully get a shirt and work around this time of 2020. And again, there are a lot of new items too that I'll highlight in the store, like tank tops and a lot of different items that we've not seen before. So I'm excited that that's something we were able to offer, and that Paul worked on that with our team at Primal. So it's through May 27th. So this month we'll do a lot of reminders about that opportunity to purchase any of those accessory items in order to get them in time by mid-July, when everyone's going to be out and about and really creating their own 328. We did want to stick to a ship time of still that mid-May mark. So that's why the deadline is May 27th, so we can guarantee that everyone will receive their items by mid-July. Any thoughts about the store or other things from last week's email? Again, I know it's just Tony, Carol, and Drew, but did you guys have any other thoughts on that?
No, I haven't had a chance to go through. I did see they got a beanie, so I'm going to definitely have to go get me one of those because I'm into the beanies. So.
We do have the rider caps. Yeah, that was new. That, the tank tops. Yeah, there's a lot of items that we've not seen. You know, we've always had the arm warmers, the shorts, things like that match, but I'm really excited about some of these other items that are completely separate that we can offer with our ACS determination logo.
No, they're all kind of cool.
It's going to be exciting, and funds will come back to our event. So I want to highlight that too, that we will receive portions of the proceeds to benefit POHR. So we do want to make sure everyone's aware of that too, that it does help us. Every bit counts.
That's cool. And I was going to compliment, I really do like that FAQ document. I finally sat down and looked at that the other day, and when I had time to actually sit and read it, it was very helpful.
And we just continue to update it. So I think, you know, we wanted it to be a living document again, so we didn't have to constantly send an updated version, knowing that there are so many moving pieces right now. We really wanted, you know, riders and volunteers, and again, and anyone that's interested in our ride too, to just be able to refresh that and kind of have it as a guide as we move forward during this time. So a lot of exciting things to come. Again, we've got the challenge that we're going to do. The Primal store is live. We're really going to focus on the jersey qualification and new Dynamo Club level. We have updated the fundraising flyer. And we're working on another tool that I wanted to share, and that's a one-pager about virtual POHR this year. So kind of shifting gears here as we get into the second half of our meeting, we really want to, as Tony mentioned, take advantage of this opportunity that does lie in front of us, that there could be individuals we can recruit this year that we don't typically get to engage with POHR, whether that's because they can't commit to just the 4 days or their work doesn't permit it, or maybe they were worried about the mileage that's compiled in the 4 days. We really have opportunity here to recruit some interested individuals across the United States, not just in Ohio, but I do feel this is a huge opportunity for our out-of-state riders as well to engage new individuals with us. And we just wanted to share that this isn't going to be just ride 328 miles and not get an experience out of it. We really want, and we are really working on making this as engaging as possible. But that takes everyone really responding to the engagement ideas that we're coming up with. And so that's what we really want to focus on in the next few months is who do we know that this might be an opportunity that we can ask them to join us that hasn't ridden with POHR, but maybe we've been asking them for a few years. And a really big focus area for us as staff that we'll be starting outreach to tomorrow, in fact, are those riders from last year that haven't currently signed up. So we'll be working on some personal emails from us just to touch base with those riders to see if, because they hadn't signed up for this year, does this new virtual space change things for them and can they join us? So know that we really do feel that there's a lot of opportunity for us. And I kind of wanted to open it up. Sorry, we got the dogs barking. But see if you had ideas of places we could focus on recruiting.
Not much more than what we've chatted about, right? You know, again, I'm out trying to get as much riding in as I can right now, just getting ready, and I'm trying to talk to as many people as I can that are kind of marginal riders that, you know, it's easier now to explain that we can do it over a certain amount of time. It's just a weekend after hours thing. You know, it's not a single 4-day commitment, since we're going to stretch it out to the month. So I'm just trying to get them outliers that I see bike riding at the moment, or friends that I know that, you know, I just had a buddy that just bought a bike about 2 weeks ago. So, you know, the first thing I told him, I'd be more than happy to help him get his bike all put together, but he's going to help me fundraise and get out there and ride with me. So I'm trying to get him signed up, you know, things like that.
Sure.
Just those guys that are on the outer edge, not, you know, they wouldn't have done it if it was the full day commitment because they couldn't for timing wise, but they can now. So those are the kind of guys I'm trying to focus on.
I know we have a lot of our committee that have connections like to the Blue Ash YMCA, and there have been groups that we've talked about like Montgomery Cycle that we were trying to work with to recruit for this year. So I've focused on reaching out to Montgomery Cycle and some of those cycle groups. But I think that any of the connections we have, like riders that might join in the spin classes at the Y, places like that, hopefully this one pager that we create and all of the documents we have through the FAQ and such can help us really work around using those to then recruit individuals to join us. So that is to come. We're working this week on that virtual one pager, and we'll share that out in communication with everyone as a follow-up tool. So hopefully that will be beneficial, and the new updated fundraising one pager as well. So just kind of, I guess, some last minute thoughts to wrap up is, as Tony said, just really calling on all of you to help us with this new space. But just getting excited about what the virtual opportunity is going to look like. We have a lot of upcoming calls that I hope you can join us for, and our committee meeting in June will really be focused on engagement, But no, we're also planning a Spirit Week for bike events. That will be the week of Cancer Survivor Week. So the second week in June, that Sunday is Cancer Survivors Day. And we've decided to do a fun virtual bike week. And each of us staff from the various bike events is kind of helping focus on one of the days. And we'll all be using the same collateral to really bring all of our determination groups together. So we did highlight that in the email last week as well. That will have a virtual bike week in June. We talked about the Facebook fundraising in May and some of the other things that we'll be working on as an executive group in our call next week. We had, as you might recall, socials planned for May. So we had Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. Each of us had talked about doing May Ride and socials, so we want to discuss making those virtual. We might combine them. We could still do our own, but there are a lot of fun opportunities with trivia and just various programs that we have that we could really make some practice runs at what virtual involvement might look like for our socials when we meet during our normal planned Pan Ohio dates. That is something that I think we all agreed we wanted to do, was still have our nightly socials. We'll work around making our recognition and kickoffs virtual, but know that we'll probably be putting our heads together here if you have ideas to still do a May social as well, and it go virtual. So if you have ideas about that, please share them with me so I can take them into the executive meeting, and Tony and I can really kind of represent those for our Cincinnati area. But again, we want to still try and stick to the schedule that we had per normal, though we can't be together. And May socials is definitely one of those topics to continue. So if you have fun, creative ideas that we could do across Teams or Zoom to get everyone together, please share them with me. And Tony and I will make sure that that's part of our conversation with exec next week. But that is kind of where we're thinking. We're coming up with fun, unique ideas that we can just continue to engage across the state and beyond with our out-of-state riders as well. Carol, Drew, Tony, do you guys have any ideas or things to add just in this new virtual capacity? I know I dumped a lot of updates on you tonight, but know that we definitely have a lot of ongoing things that we want to hear from you on for ideas that we can take into these next few months to really engage everyone in a unique way.
I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I did have that one thing with Little Miami Brewing set up for the 27th.
Right.
And they're doing carry out. So I'm going to reach out to the contact and see if they're would still do whatever the dollar per pint or whatever it is for the carry out also. But I'll let everybody know if anything else pops in my head before.
Great. I did want to follow up with you on that. Yeah, that's a really great point. And hopefully by the end of May, we know a little bit more about things opening back up across the state and such. So thanks for making that outreach and connecting with them.
Yeah, it was one of those things when they extended the stay-at-home order. I looked at Drew and I'm like, oh no, why?
No.
Yep.
I had a moment.
We're taking Little Miami this week, but Tammy and I did. But yeah, it stinks. Can't get in there. But they're a good group.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely let us know if you hear back on what we can still do there, or if we reschedule for later, see what they're willing to do with us. We'd love to still partner with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will do that.
Great. Well, I'll include in this follow-up with this recording the updated fundraising incentive flyer. Once our virtual recruitment flyer is done, I will share that with the group. And again, I just referenced the FAQ and our website for all of the up-to-date things. If you have ideas about our May social and things that we could do virtually, please email me those. ideas on recruitment as well. And I just thank you for your efforts and still trying to focus on who we know out there that we can recruit in this new way, and continuing our fundraising efforts as well. I appreciate all of you.
We appreciate you.
Thanks.
You bet.
Well, enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll talk soon.
You got it. Thanks, Sarah.
Okay,
Thanks.
thanks.
Guys.
You bet.